tax return is up by more than 11% when you compare it to the same time as last year. Do you believe that this is evidence?
Over 100%.
Do you believe that this is evidence that the big, beautiful tax cuts that you signed into law last year are working? And do you think the economy is going to continue to hum as the year progresses?
Yeah, thank you. So the biggest tax cut in history is in the great, big, beautiful bill. And I think, I see it. I actually see it reported where people are shocked at how much money they're making. They can't believe the refunds that they're making. 5,000, 6,000, 7, 8, 9. I saw one last night on television, 11,000 more than she thought she was going to get. And it's no tax on tips and no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors, no tax on social, nobody can believe it even. And the numbers are far greater than they thought. People that thought they were going to make an extra $500, turns out they're making an extra $5,000. So it's been really great, yeah. And that's going to carry forward. Look, the country's doing really well. And that's despite a military operation. I don't call it a war. Would you rather have a military operation where really, Iran is dying to make a deal. I can only tell you that. I don't want to get into it, but they cannot be nuclear other than that. But their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone. Every ounce of any form of equipment practically is gone. Their drone factories are about 82% down, and their missile factories are almost 90% down. And many of their missiles have been knocked out. They used some, but we knocked out more than they used. And it's pretty amazing what's happened. They want to make a deal. But despite the fact that we are in what some people would call a war, we just hit a new high today on the stock market. We have S&P is through the roof. They're through the roof. And, when we hit 50,000 on the Dow and 7,000 on the S&P, I said to myself, we got to do something about Iran. They want to have a nuclear weapon. You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. And I hated to do it to my people because they said 50,000. Peter, you know this, that 50,000 wouldn't be obtainable in my 4 years or anybody's 4 years. And we hit 50,000 in my first year, the end of my first year. We hit 7,000 on the S&P. They said that would be even less attainable. And we hit that at the end of the first year, before the year was up. And then I said to Kevin, sorry about this, Kevin, but we have to put out a fire. And the fire is taking place in the lovely country of Iran. And they want to have a nuclear weapon. And if we didn't use this beautiful, see that plane right there? That beautiful B-2 bomber. It looks small there, but it's actually quite it doesn't look very powerful there, but it's quite large, actually. We ordered 25 more of them, the updated version. All built in America, which is very nice, right? But if we didn't have that B-2 bomber, if we didn't go in and do what we did, we obliterated that nuclear capacity of theirs. And so they didn't get the nuclear bomb. If we didn't do that attack, should have been done long before I came along by other presidents or by another country or something. But it should have been done long before I came along. But they are in very bad shape. And they've got nothing going, including leadership. Their leaders are gone. Now they have a whole new, their first string leaders are gone. Their second string leaders are gone. Now we're dealing with their third string. But we'll see what happens. It's been an amazing period of time between Venezuela and where we're doing great. We're getting along with them great. We're working very closely with them. They're doing more oil now than they've done in many, many decades, actually. And they're making more money, and so are we. It's like a joint venture, to be honest. And we've paid for the attack many times over. The attack, something you've never heard before, probably. I always used to say to the victor, belong the spoils. But we've paid for the attack, which is always expensive. But it was a less than 1 day attack. It was actually a 45-minute attack. And that's a good, they have a good military in Venezuela, but they did not expect that and that and that and that. Other than that. But when these suckers come at you at 2,500 miles an hour, at 25 feet off the ground, you say, this is not what I bargained for. This is no good. Anyway, and now, Venezuela was amazing, but now we're doing, essentially it's larger, but We're doing essentially the same thing in Iran. Can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And their economy is crashing. The blockade is incredible. The power of the blockade is incredible. They're not getting any money from oil. And hopefully it can be worked out very soon. Yeah.
Iran is proving to be very stubborn. The talks seem like they are stalled. Are you getting antsy to break the ceasefire?
Well, I mean, I don't know what stubborn is because really nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly. We have a problem because nobody knows for sure who the leaders are. It's a little bit of a problem, you know. The leaders have been wiped out along with their military, almost all of their military. I mean, think of it. 159 ships was their total Navy. 159 ships are gone. They're underwater. They're way below sea level. Sea level is a big difference. Pretty deep waters over there, too. So, I don't know that we need it. We might need it.
And on Iran, a little while ago, the president of FIFA said that when the World Cup is here in the U.S., the team from Iran will be playing in the games.
Well, if Johnny said it, I'm okay. Are you talking about, did Johnny say it?
He did? What if they
Johnny
win?
Infantino, that's a piece of work.
What if they win?
Well, if they win, we'll have to worry about that. That's not, I'm going to have to worry about that one. Look, you know what? Let him play well. Johnny's fantastic. You know, he's a friend of mine. And he talked about it. I said, you do whatever you want. You can have them. You don't have to have them. Probably have a good team. I don't know. Do they have a good team? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Would be hard to believe, actually. But I think let them play. Right?
This is a little bit different, but what is your take on these reports that your show, The Apprentice, is going to could come back on Amazon with host Donald Trump Jr.?
Well, I've been hearing it. Look, we had a great success, 14 seasons, and The Apprentice was a tremendous success. So I've been hearing that, you know, a little bit. So we'll see what happens. He's good. He's a good guy. He'd be probably good. He's got a little charisma going. You need a little charisma for that soccer match. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, they told me about it. We'll see.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. There's been some talks about changes to your security after what took place.
Changing my security.
Changing your security after what took place.
Well, they did a pretty good job, actually. You know, they stopped the NFL running back. I mean, he was like a running back. In fact, if he ever got out, they're probably going to sign him. He was a speedy guy. But he was stopped. They had many levels in front of him before he would even come close. You know, you could be a baseball team and win 19-0, and somebody could say, you should have won 21. You should have gotten 25 runs. The team was no good or something. So I don't know. I can only say that I know a lot of those people at Secret Service, and they were good and they were forceful. And I saw the guys in front of me. They were powerful-looking guys. I said we could send them to Hollywood. They could make movies. I think that there's always room for improvement, right? And he got into the building. The problem is I know that's what I do. I build buildings like that. You know, much nicer, actually, but I build buildings like that. And, you know, when you have 1,000 rooms sitting on top of a ballroom, and you have the elevators coming down right near the entrance, it's a pretty tough situation. Now, right outside, we have something that's on time, on budget, actually ahead of time, ahead of budget depending on finishes. You know, finishes is a big difference between marble and onyx in price, but it's right on budget, right on time. And that's built to the highest standards of security. No units on top, no hotel built on top where an elevator comes right down through the middle of it. It's a tough location. That's a tough location. So I think I know the people at Secret Service. I think they're great, and I think the Congress has to take care of those people. You know, we're talking about ICE, we're talking about Border Patrol, Secret Service, everyone is. The Democrats essentially want to defund the police, just so you know. That's right. They want to defund law enforcement. It's crazy. These people have gone crazy. I heard Hakeem Jeffries, a low IQ person. He's a very low IQ, screaming today that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. I mean, that's a dangerous statement. Then if I say something modest, they say, oh, he's a king, he's a king. They're sick. But Hakeem Jeffries said the Supreme Court is illegitimate. That's a rough statement. If I made that statement, it would be the biggest story out there. Bad things would happen.
One of the ideas.
Go ahead.
The average price of a gallon of gas is now $4.30
All right,
in this country.
And you know what? And we're not going to have a nuclear weapon in the hands of Iran. The gas will go down. As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it. It's all over the place, sitting all over the oceans of the world. And it'll go down. But what won't happen is if Iran had a nuclear weapon and used it, then the whole world is a different place.
What about
You're
the
not going to have to
midterms?
pay
Impact
a little
on
bit more for
Republicans in the
gasoline. The gasoline, the oil will go down rapidly as soon as the war is over.
Can I follow up?
Brian,
I was
good
going
to
to
see
ask
you
you
again,
about-
sir.
Brian, go ahead.
I've got two questions. First, I want to follow up on Daniel's question. I've described you as the peacemaker. You're achieving peace around the world. Due to these latest policies, big beautiful bill, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, now the Trump account, and then the IRA account. Could we describe you as the wealth maker?
Well, I'm helping people out. It's a nice question, actually, but I'm helping people out. These people are with me. You know, these are great people. And feel free to speak up if you'd like, because they wanted this to happen, and we got it done. And they're Republican people, I think, in all cases, right? In all cases. It's crazy. We need, like always, unanimous, because the Democrats, they will vote against anything, no matter how good. If they had their favorite thing in the world, and we happen to want it, but we found a new strategy. We're going to oppose every single thing that we want, and we'll get unanimous votes. So I'm going to come up and oppose everything, Brian, from this point forward, and they'll vote for it. Go ahead.
Second question. You created Space Force on
Yeah.
the second end, towards the end of your first administration.
Right.
You just had the Artemis II crew in here. I know it's a big accomplishment. What do you see moving forward, the duration of your administration in terms of space exploration? I know that was a big moment for you.
Well, doing Space Force I think is going to go down as one of my more important things. It's turning out. Even a lot of these great military operations that we have right now, when you look at Venezuela, when you look at like the decimation of Iran, which was considered powerful, it was the bully of the Middle East. And a lot of that took place so effectively because of what's coming out of space. When we did Space Force, when I did Space Force, I'm very proud of it. Space was like, we were third. China was first, Russia was second. Now we've leapfrogged. We're way ahead of China, we're way ahead of Russia. And we made some great choices. The first person that headed Space Force, and really after that we had a couple of really great people heading it. Always very important. And a new person is heading it now. I think he has a chance to be as good as anybody, as good as, maybe better, I don't know. But we've had great people heading up Space Force. It's been very important. It's been very important for what we're doing with respect to the different places. And as far as peace, I settled 8 wars. And people try and dispute it, but then they go over them. And almost in every case, they sent letters thanking me and letters to the Nobel Committee. I don't care about that. Maria was very nice. She gave me her Nobel Peace Prize because she said she didn't deserve it. She was very, very nice. But I settled 8 wars. And in every case, the people, the prime ministers or presidents wrote letters thanking me. And in the case of India, look, the biggest one would have been Pakistan, India. The prime minister of Pakistan said, I saved from 30 to 50 million lives, but it could have been more than that. 2 nuclear nations were going at it. 11 airplanes were shot down. They were in the first week of what would have been a very bad war, and I got it solved. You know how I got it solved? By the use of tariffs. I said, I'm going to charge you tariffs if you guys keep fighting. And they said, oh, please don't do that.
You just lifted the tariffs, right? You just lifted some tariffs on whiskey? Is that correct?
Yeah, what I'm doing is for as long as I've been here, they've wanted to, Kentucky, which is a great place, and I also won, Jason, by a lot. But Kentucky, with the bourbon, and Scotland with the whiskey, and they've had trade for years and years and years, and a lot of restrictions, a lot of different restrictions took place that didn't amount to much, and it really stopped them. I don't know if you know, it's a barrel trade. They use the barrels from the one to take care of the other, and the barrels are only good for one unit. In other words, they can't be used twice. They can only be used once, but the once makes it a better substance. I'm not a big drinker, so forgive me, but it makes them a big substance and a better taste. But they dealt for years. This was Scotland and Kentucky, mostly Kentucky. And I just took all the restrictions off, so Scotland and Kentucky can start dealing again. And I did it in honor of the king and queen who just left. They're heading back. And it was a big deal. They've been trying to get this for a long time.
Yes, Mr. President, you talked about possibly pulling out some troops out of Germany. Would you be considering the same thing for Spain and Italy? I mean, they haven't been exactly on board.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably will. Why should I? Look, why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us. And Spain has been horrible, absolutely horrible. It's NATO. It's not even the fact that they're bad. It's one thing if they said nicely, or if they said, okay, we'll help, but the help's a little slow. But the level, and we helped them with Ukraine. They made a mess out of Ukraine, a total mess. And we helped them with Ukraine. Ukraine has nothing to do, we're an ocean apart. It has to do with them. It's like for them, it's their front door. We help them. And Biden gave them $350 billion, which was insane. It's one of the reasons the war went on. But when we needed them, they were not there. We have to remember that. And so if we ever have a big one, because we didn't need any help with Iran. We had Iran right from the first day. It was over. It was over. And now it's even more so. We're so locked and loaded if we want to do. But we didn't need the help. And to a certain extent, I asked them, I didn't need the help, but I said, yeah, we'd love to have you help, because I wanted to see if they do it. And they, in all cases, they said, we don't want to get involved. And the amazing thing is they use the Strait of Hormuz. We don't. We don't use it. We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. Well, wait a minute.
Oh.
And they use it, we don't. And you would have thought they would have said, we would love to help you. But they didn't, which I think was a verse. And Germany, he's doing a terrible job. He's got immigration problems. He's got energy problems. He's got problems of all kinds. And he's got a big problem with Ukraine, because they're in that mess. And he criticized me for doing the whole thing with Iran. But I said, would you like to have a nuclear weapon in the hands of Iran? He said, no, I don't. I said, well, then I guess I'm right. He didn't have any answer to that. The bottom line is, for this world, for our country, but certainly for Israel, the Middle East, and Europe, much closer, you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you agree that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, which most people agree, almost everybody, it should have been done a long time ago. But if you agree they can't have a nuclear weapon, then what I did has been executed perfectly, because our military has decimated them. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, two questions for you. Alina Shirazi from the Daily Mail. You have called this the new regime before in Iran, but I speak to Iranians on a daily basis, and they tell me that these are the same people that have murdered them, executed them, repressed them. I talked to them through the blackout, and they wanted me to ask you this question. And second of all, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, how come he's not involved in these conversations?
Oh, he's very much involved. Marco is he's negotiating with them all the time. Look, Iran killed 42,000 people over the last 2 months, protesters. They were going to kill 8 women whose lives I saved, and I appreciate that they didn't do it. I asked them not to do it. They didn't do it. They were getting ready to hang the women. They were going to hang 8 beautiful women that were, just caught the imagination of a lot of people. People were talking about it. It was inconceivable. You saw those 8 beautiful people, and they were going to be executed that evening. This was a week ago. and I got on the phone very quickly, and I said, don't do it, don't do it. The whole world is watching, don't do it. And they didn't do it. I appreciate it. I guess 4 were released, and the other 4 are going to be released in a month. They were ready to be executed that night. So they take a tough, they knocked out the wrestler they killed. They killed the wrestler's teammates. He was a world champion wrestler, too. He was a great wrestler, great, talented wrestler. They killed him because he protested. He spoke. He wasn't wrestling. What he did is he spoke negatively about the regime, and they killed him. They executed him, along with his friends. They killed 42,000 people. So when you say about, they say that I do the same, I don't do the same. I'm trying to save that country in a certain way, and nobody's ever seen it. Think of it. They killed 42,000 innocent, not weapon-carrying people for protesting. 42,000. And the number they say is a lot higher than that. There's a rough group, but we have decimated them. And their economy is a disaster. So we'll see how long they hold out. We'll see.
President Trump, Saudi Arabia is pulling the plug on Live Golf. Once that tour is gone, do you think the PGA Tour should welcome the defectors back with open arms?
Well, I do. It's a great question. In fact, if I had time, I'd love to watch television today because the PGA Tour is playing at Doral, the Cadillac Championship. And I said, who's winning? I don't get a chance. I can't even look at it.
Jordan Spieth was in the lead earlier.
Who is?
Jordan Spieth.
Oh, that's good. He's good. Great guy. Good putter, to put it mildly, right? He's a very great guy. Chipper putter. No, it's they're at my tournament right now, the PGA. In 2 weeks, Liv is going to be at my course right here on the Potomac. No, I'd love to see Liv, but I do believe that all of the golfers should be playing, the great golfers should be playing against each other. I do believe, it's sort of, they were viewing something as a monopoly, but it's in a way, it should be the opposite of a monopoly. I want to see Rory playing Bryson DeChambeau. I want to see Big John Rahm playing Scotty, who's so great, right? Scotty Scheffler is great. And I want to see him play John Rahm and Bryson and all the different guys. They have great players on the Live. But it's almost like people want to see that. That's why the Masters was so good, because you saw everybody together. Patrick Reed played great. He's on Live and he played great. And they all did. They all played. They're great players. I play with them. They're very good. When I think I'm a good player and then I play with them, I don't think I'm that good. But there's something nice about all of the players playing together. Now they'll all be accepted by the tour. There's no question, because they're great. If they weren't, but the tour really will. The tour wants to have the best player. You can't have the best player that they're boycotting. Now they may do something, a little bit, but they'll all be back on tour and it'll be great. And having one tour. Now I don't know that what's happening with Liv. I'm not sure what's happening with Liv, but they are playing in my course 2 weeks on the Potomac, beautiful course. But right now they're playing at Doral, which I own, and if we end this early, I'll be able to watch for about 3 minutes before I get back onto the economy and every other subject that we have, including Iran. We're doing so well with Iran, so I think so.